darte cuenta que tú no eres lo que se mandó a buscar sin darte.
Another thing that might alter the taste of your breast milk or its odor could be if you're not directly breastfeeding and you're storing your milk in the fridge or the freezer and then feeding it back to your baby later. Sometimes that can alter the taste of your breast milk. And there's a lot of theories as to why that is. One of the theories out there is that it's something called high lipase content. So everybody has this enzyme called lipase in their breast milk. Now, lipase is a really important enzyme in your breast milk. It helps break down the fats into fatty acids so that they're easily digested. So it's not a bad thing to have lipase in your milk. What some people think happens is that maybe some mothers have a higher content of lipase in their milk, which then maybe breaks down the milk more if it is being stored and then fed back, specifically if it's like frozen and then defrosted and warmed up and fed back to their baby, that it can make kind of a soapy or metallic smell that sometimes babies are not a big fan of. Now, when they've actually looked at studying breast milk after moms have expressed it and measured lipase levels, there's actually not a huge difference that they found so far. Maybe there's research yet to prove it, but they haven't actually found that there actually is higher lipase content for some women than others. So all that being said, if you have noticed that you store milk in the freezer and it has a really bad metallic soapy, sometimes people will say it smells really rancid after defrosting it or warming it up, it's okay to feed to your baby. But if you're running into issues where your baby is not wanting to take that milk, there's a few ways to try and work around it. So for one, when you're gonna go store some milk, maybe store a few small batches first, put it straight into the freezer. Don't let it sit out at room temperature, because the longer it sits out, the more time that lipase enzyme is going to have time to work in breaking down those fatty acids. So store small batches for at least 5 days, and then take it out and defrost it and test it, see how it smells, and try feeding it to your baby to see if they'll take it. Now, if they do not like the taste of it, don't like the flavor, there's a few other ways you can work around it. One way to work around it would be to mix some of your previously expressed frozen breast milk with fresh breast milk that can dilute that change in flavor and odor, and maybe make it easier for your baby to take. Another strategy would be to simply provide as much of your fresh breast milk as possible and avoid storing it all together. Or if you need to store it and feed it back later, store it for as little time as possible, like keep it in your fridge for less than a day. Or if you're gonna freeze it right away. Don't leave it in the fridge to be breaking down those fats. Another option that some mothers have chosen to do is to put their milk through a process called scalding, basically where they heat it up, not to boiling, but about 180 degrees, to try and help remove the lipase enzyme from their milk, to help it avoid developing that smell and odor later on. Now, if you've done this before and it's worked for you, it's okay to do. But the science that's out there says that there's not really a higher lipase content in people's milk. So it's not really beneficial to scald your milk and feed it back to your baby if you can find other ways around it to get your baby to take your milk. The scalding process, there's also not really a great standardized way of how to do it. So there's a lot of room for error. And if you're heating your milk up to almost boiling, bubbling, you actually can remove some of the really important factors of breast milk. Hopefully you found that helpful. And I know that we had a mama ask specifically about a history of high lipase, and what she could do next time around she's having a baby. So hopefully that helps you. And please let us know if you have any other questions or things that you would like us to cover in a future Milky Monday. Bye-bye.